Good morning, Kipsons. Mr. Jennings here. Nice to see you guys again. So this is for second and third grade, lesson two, about inheritance traits. This video, we're still going to be learning, be introduced to inheritance traits. Last video, we learned about the word organisms and organisms being living things. We also was introduced to the school and park that we're going to be focused on helping, which is Yellowstone Park and Yellowstone School. So right here at the top, I got Yellowstone on our anchor chart just to keep us set in where we are. So we are talking about Yellowstone Park or National Park, Yellowstone National Park, which is next to Yellowstone School, elementary school. And we're trying to help their students figure out learn about the wolves that are next to their school in this national park. So we watched this video about wolves, and we're going to watch this video briefly again. Now, in the last time we looked at this video, we were just seeing the different color wolves that we've seen. So I do notice that the video, it kind of looks like the wolves are black, but actually the wolves are different variations of gray. So it could be like dark gray, like a medium dark gray and a light gray. So there's actually one light wolf in this video, one light gray wolf in this video. So we know, like, if you had like a orange crayon and you colored orange lightly and you colored orange darker, that it will then make a darker orange color. So same thing with the wolves in this video. We know that how the wolves got darker because usually a darker gray can make another gray. So mom and dad, if they're both a gray, it may make a darker gray. But that gray usually doesn't make, well, not that it usually doesn't make, but we want to figure out why one of the wolves was light gray. So I'll show you the wolf that we're going to be talking about.
The grazing animals must struggle mightily in search of a few blades of grass. Elk grow weak as well as grows. Their intent to make. Gray wolves were reintroduced.
Here, in this video here, we see the darker gray wolves. You can kind of see it behind my screen here. This is like a darker gray. I know they look black, but they're just a dark gray of wolf. So all of the wolves, except for this wolf right here in the middle, is dark gray. So we're going to be referring to that wolf as Wolf 44. So right here, you see it says Wolf 44. We're going to be referring to that wolf as Wolf 44 because that wolf is different from the others. It is a light grayish color, and we're going to be figuring out why is that wolf a lighter gray color. Remember, our big question that we're focused on, which is also at the top, are how are organisms and or living things the same or different? So organisms is just another word for living things. We also have some vocabulary words that we're going to be focused on during this unit. So, like I said, our big question is how are organisms the same and how are they different? Some words we're going to be focused on is organisms. We all learned that organisms are living things. This is anything that is living. It is an organism. Trait. Trait is a characteristic, so don't get it confused with like the character traits when you're reading a book, like when you talk about someone's personality, like mean or happy or like different personality traits. Characteristic traits has to do with like our size, our shape, our color, our body parts. So like, for example, a cat has whiskers and we don't have whiskers. We might have like older people might have like mustaches, or like me, I have a beard, or someone has nothing. But we know like different animals or different organisms have different things. Like fish have fins. We don't have fins. We have feet, and those are the ways that we move around. Variation is differences. So just like we see that there's a dark gray wolf, and most of the wolves are darker grayed or gray, and there's a light gray wolf. That's a different variation. Species. So the species of animal that we're looking at right now is the gray wolves. That's the name of the species. So all of the wolves in this species should be a variation of gray. So they are a similar group of organisms. Inherit are things that we get from our parents. So like we usually we all inherit like our skin mostly. So our skin color, we inherit it from our parents, or our hair, like how our hair looks, we kind of inherit that from our parents, or how our eyes, the color of our eyes, we inherit that from our parents. And environment is like what's around you. So we all live in, like, for the most part, the same environment. Like on the west side of Chicago, it's the same environment that we live in. I also wanted to give a big shout out to Ashton. So we're gonna all send Ashton some love. Ashton got awarded those 5 extra credit points. He told us what the name of the um, living or thing or organism that Mr. Jennings didn't know, which is the fire ant. So thank you, Ashton. Good job. Nice research on giving us that information. And like I said, you have been awarded 5 points toward your grade. Super awesome. So next thing we're going to be looking at is the weather in Greystone Park, or the seasons. And I want you to be thinking during these videos, how do you think the seasons affect those different animals? And I'll talk to you about it after the 2 videos. So we're going to be looking at winter and summer. I want you to think, how does winter and summer affect different animals? Like it might even, like us being though, we are a type of living thing or organism as well. How does winter or summer affect us? Think you might go outside more in the summer and less in the winter, or you might wear more warmer clothing in the winter and cooler clothing in the summer. The seasons affect different organisms differently around the world. So we're going to be looking at 2 different videos: a video about the Yellowstone Gray Park in the winter, and Yellowstone Park National Park in the winter, and Yellowstone National Park in the summer. So be tuned in. Remember, we're thinking, how do you think that the winter affects different animals? So we're gonna stop that video there. I want you, like I said, to think about um, how do you think the winter affects different animals in Yellowstone National Park. So we're gonna look at our next video here. This is the a video about the summer in Yellowstone National Park. And during this video, I want you to have the same thinking task, which is, how do you think the summer affects different animals, or how do you think the summer works for different animals or organisms for that matter in Yellowstone National Park? So, looking at that video, we seen some of those two videos. We seen some different things, and I want to give you guys a second to maybe tell someone near to you, maybe it's a brother, sister, maybe it's a parent, or someone whoever's watching you. Tell them what are some things that you've seen different with the two seasons. We seen the first season of winter, and then looking at the second season of summer. What did you see different with the two videos that we looked at? I'll give you a second to talk to that person and telling them what do you see different in the in Yellowstone National Park in the winter and Yellowstone National Park in the summer. Get ready, go. You done it? No? Okay. Okay, cool. So I'll tell you a couple of things that I noticed, and I'm hoping that you guys came up with the same things. One, in the first video in the winter, I noticed I only really seen bison out. I know that the wolves are out too, but I don't see that many animals out. So that tells me that a lot of animals have less food because a lot of animals prey on other animals, and because there are less animals in the winter, there's less food. I also noticed that in the summer, a lot of animals were out. So that tells me that there was more food or more prey for different animals in the summer. I also know because it's the winter, some things like rivers and lakes and different things might freeze up, which means less water. In the summer, when we looked at the video in the summer, I noticed that there was a flowing stream of water where animals can drink from. I also seen that in the summer there was plenty of grass and different things for like the sheep and the bears and different other animals all across that national park to be able to eat. In the winter, you've seen more snow, so it will be harder for them to find food because usually when there's snow, the grass doesn't really grow too much or grows way less, or you don't see any grass at all. So those animals can't eat. So different animals do different things based on the winter, and we do different things too. Like in the winter, we stay in more because we don't want to get sick, or it's cold out. Think of like the ice cream truck, right? The ice cream truck doesn't come out in the winter because there's no need for it and people are not outside. And in the summer, the ice cream truck comes out a lot because it's hot outside, and that's one food, I'll say food, that we'll be able to enjoy over the summer that we wouldn't really be able to enjoy in the winter. So I know if I was an animal or an organism that only ate ice cream, I wouldn't be able to eat in the winter. And the same for these different organisms here in the Yellowstone National Park. So different animals do different things. Like, for example, squirrels and bears and different other animals, they hibernate over the winter, so that they're not out. So we didn't see any squirrels or bears that were out in the winter. Or birds and different animals might migrate based on if it's too cold, because they don't like the cold, so they migrate to a different area, which in all makes it less food throughout this time. And only animals who can sustain or survive the winter stay out, and it's less food for them to find throughout that time. So, what are some other similarities or differences that you found in winter and summer? So I just told you some. If you want to keep what I said, you can tell your parent or whoever's around you those. Or if you can find out more, you'll be able to tell them, and you can also upload them on our announcements. So second and third grade will be able to see. Now I'll give you a couple seconds to tell them some similarities that you've seen, or if you had the same connections as Mr. Dennis. Get ready. Go. Thumbs up. You're good. Thumbs up. High thumbs up. Thumbs up. Okay, good. So we had different similarities without. So this is a great opportunity to demonstrate all that we have learned so far about biology. It's okay not to know all the answers, but we're learning so much in this unit. So things that you don't know, it's totally fine. We're all investigating now and learning together. And that's the end of this PowerPoint. I'll be seeing you guys next week for our next lesson, which is lesson 3, and we'll learn more about that species of gray wolves. Remember the word species; these are that different type of animal, which is the gray wolves that we're studying in the Yellowstone National Park. And we'll be doing that in lesson 3, learning more about inheritance and traits. Catch you guys later.